everyone. My name is Curtis Geffen. We're here on Bolt Banter talking Chargers football again. So we have a lot going on this week. For the NFL, we had a hearing in San Diego, downtown San Diego, where representatives from the NFL Relocation Committee held a hearing to hear Chargers fans' questions and comments on the current situation of staying in the city and the Chargers making certain moves to try to get out. And I was personally there. I got the chance to go, and it was a really interesting experience. We walked in, they had the big NFL logo up on stage at the Spreckles Theater, and first thing started off, the committee came out of 4 people, including Eric Grubman, who's like the main guy involved in the relocation possibility and process for an LA team, really. So Eric Grubman and 3 others came out, 2 male committee members and 1 female, and other members, so there's 4 total. And then following that, they had our favorite person, Fabiani, come out and address the crowd. And there's people that were on both sides of the fence where they were upset that people booed him. But I think, he's kind of stirred the pot a lot and really taken some low blows to the fans of San Diego. So I don't blame them for booing I booed. And there's the way he phrased his address was, there's some comments he said in his address to the people at the committee or at the hearing that were just direct low blows. And I don't know if you'll hear that or if it's been talked about in the other media. I haven't read too much on the review of the hearing from San Diego because I was there, saw all of it, so I didn't need to read a review on it or a summary. But part of his address to San Diego fans when he was there, part of it was worded as, hey, I know for some of you this is your first time at a city council hearing or meeting. And that phrase, I think, was just a big low blow, or just a big blow, a burn. He's trying to burn some Charger fans. And he also preceded that with saying, I recognize some of you, but also I know for a lot of you. It was just a very interesting choice of words by Fabiani, and we all know he's done his duty in making a lot of Charger fans unhappy. But a lot of good came out of the San Diego hearing to the NFL. I think the committee, the 4 members on stage, really saw an intimate side of the Charger fans and saw how much the Chargers mean to San Diego. There's a guy that was a veteran, talked about fighting for his Bolts, fighting for his city. Now the city is made up of Chargers, blue and gold, the Bolts. And there's a younger man about my age who talked about how he lost his father when he was younger, and the Chargers were the only, thing that kind of kept him going and have kept him occupied and have really been his backbone. And then a lot of other people talked about, there were people there that were like season ticket holders since the 60s. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to see an array and a big range of Charger fans, from people who have been going to games since they first moved down here to people who started going, a couple decades ago, stuff like that. And a lot of people really threw Carson under the bus, which I think was good but not great, because I think they should focus more on why San Diego should be the city for the Chargers, not why a certain city shouldn't. And they did say why San Diego should be, but I think the balance was a lot of like 50-50 of why it shouldn't be in Carson, why it should be in San Diego. I think they should have, people should have said why Carson was not a good idea, and then continued to say time and time again through their turn of speech, say why San Diego was the city to be hosting the Chargers. Because at some point, it honestly got really repetitive as to why we shouldn't go to Carson. I think that wasted a lot of time. And I must say, I don't think we as Charger fans, at least people who spoke, did a great job of asking questions. Some people asked questions, and a lot of people just stated their I guess their lifetime history to Chargers or what the Chargers have meant to them, whereas more of a testimonial. And then some people actually effectively asked Grubman things, which is great. I also have a video of some little highlights from it that's good to check out. And you can probably see some other good highlight videos, but I got a couple of Grubman talking, and he's very positive and very leaning towards working on keeping the Chargers in San Diego. Whether or not this hearing really made a difference in who is going to go to LA, I think, it's good policy by the NFL to do so. Anyway, let's move on to this game for this week. Baltimore Ravens hosting the San Diego Chargers. And it's kind of a weird game. Two teams who have had a rough season, to say the least, so far. San Diego is 2-5, and Baltimore is 1-6. This is where it gets interesting. A fact from ESPN's Jamison Hensley states that since 2006, when Rivers became a full-time starter, only two quarterbacks, Brett Favre and Peyton Manning, have had a better passer rating against the Ravens than Rivers. In 6 games, Philip Rivers has averaged 285 yards passing with 11 touchdowns. That's not averaging 11 touchdowns, it's overall 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. 101 passer rating. So that's an interesting stat. Philip has done well against the Ravens. I know there's been a couple primetime night games that we've had against the Ravens in the past. That's a good stat that favors us, the Chargers. Moving on to another cool, interesting twist on this game, Jacoby Jones, who is just now starting to come back as a returner for the Chargers, slowly getting healthy and better. He's going home. He's from Baltimore. He played for the Ravens for last year and some other seasons. So it's homecoming for him. There's always those rivalry games where players go and play their old team, and they want to do well. So maybe we could see a breakout game, or even just Jacoby Jones making a really, really, really good presence on our special teams, because so far this season our special teams has been, I would call it hit or miss or a little sloppy. We haven't really stepped it up as special teams to keep our team with good field position and or push them further down the field. It's kind of just been like, positive gains. There's a stat about us returning the ball. I forget what it was, but I don't think we had returned the ball for positive yards, if not for any positive yards, for like a couple weeks into the season, which was not great. But we have since then. All right, and another cool, interesting little fact on this game. Since 2002, and this is regarding our record. So San Diego's 2-5, Baltimore's 1-6. But regarding San Diego's record, since 2002, no 2-6 team has advanced to the playoffs. Since 2002, 6 3-5 teams have. That's from Kevin Acey of UT San Diego, reporting that stat. So that's a bunch of just little snippets of, how interesting this game is and how it's really going to mean a lot to both teams. And Baltimore's at a weird position right now where they're a decent team. I just feel like they have lost a lot, barely. They've lost 6 games by 6 or less points. So they've lost by a score every game. they could be undefeated. Had, defense stopped one drive, had they scored another touchdown or even field goal to tie, because they lost by a couple games by 3. So that's a pretty amazing stat in terms of, how every little bit of yardage or every drive counts. I mean, they lost all the games they lost by a score. That's the NFL for you. A couple things go their way, they could have a winning record. Right now, they're 1-6. Going in this game, a lot of people have lost faith in the Chargers from last week, from the Raiders game, which was kind of a mess. The team Chargers were not ready. It was embarrassing. And they came back to make it not an embarrassment, but regardless, there was a big beatdown in the first half of football for Chargers. So they've been kind of riding with that weight on their shoulders this whole week, trying to prepare for this game. So I think we're going to see one of two things: a team come out that has, like the Chargers, come out with their backs against the wall, with this weight on their shoulders, knowing that they're playing a team that's 1-6. But also, even though they're 1-6, they're kind of in the rate. I mean, they're at the bottom, but they're kind of in the mix because the AFC is so weak right now. They're really not. So this is a great opportunity for San Diego to, take a bite out of the Ravens here and just really strike and get a win, because they haven't gotten a win in a while. And I'm hoping the Chargers just channel all their built-up frustration from the last game and really part of the season, and just get a win against a team they know they can beat them. But a lot of people also in the sports world, ESPN, everyone is picking Baltimore. I think there's like a 66% chance ESPN is saying that Baltimore wins. And yeah, it is harder for, San Diego being on the West Coast to go to the East Coast. But I kind of throw that out, knowing there's so much on the line for this game. There's a lot more, I think, than people realize is on the line for this game. I mean, Melvin Gordon's he's looking pretty good to play. So that, I think, is a big thing, because so far he's had a couple glimpses of pretty good success, but we haven't really seen him shine. And we're 8 weeks in. We're halfway through the season. We want to see some sustainable improvement and just a run game. I feel like our run game has been lacking all season, and it's shown last game. We didn't get the run game going, and it kind of just messed the whole game up until the end, where we got something going. But I think if they can't trust Gordon, they got to put more investment in Brandon Oliver, who's had a year experience already. He's confident. He returns some kicks here and there. But let's look at the injury report going in this game. Chargers have a lot going on still. Gates is questionable. He's still having trouble with that. The MCL, it's not a tear, but it's a pull. I think it's a pull. So he's having trouble with that. And I think it really showed last game. He didn't play much because it was such a big thing. And he was saying how he wants to play, but he knows that that's a big part of what he does, making cuts and running his route. So that's difficult. Orlando Franklin, our guard, is going to be out. Denzel Perryman is doubtful. I don't think he will play. He hasn't practiced all week, and he's still recovering from that bicep injury. Chris Watt has practiced all week, and he's probable, so that's great. Manti Te'o's out. Craig Major, the cornerback, he's been limited practice. I think we'll see him only because our secondary may need help, being that Weddle is out again, which is not great news. That is actually really bad news, because it really showed last week. Weddle's kind of like the last ditch effort to tackle someone to knock the ball out, any kind of situation like that, and he wasn't there. And we had some guy who hasn't had much playing time with our team yet, or he has, but he isn't Eric Weddle, So also out is Tariq Williams, linebacker. Melvin Gordon, as I said, is probable. Sean Moore is questionable. He didn't practice Thursday or Friday, so we'll see how that goes. If he plays Sunday, he may not be as fresh or on his game. I got everyone there. Yeah, so Gates, I think, is a big one. If he plays, we hope he plays well. And then also a random one is Chris Harrison, I guess, had some illness going on. Didn't practice Thursday, but we'll see how that affects our O-line. On their side, they have a couple safeties out, and Steve Smith, he had limited practice on Thursday, but full practice Friday. He'll be in the game, no doubt. And one of their tackles, Eugene Rose, is doubtful. Their safeties for sure out, and Rashawn Perryman is out. Now, talking more about this matchup in this game here. San Diego's offense going against their defense, Baltimore's defense. Baltimore's defense, total defensive yards is 26 and points allowed is 26. They're at the near the bottom of the totem pole of defenses. San Diego's offense, first in passing, 29th in running. Total yards first, mainly because Philip Rivers has a huge chunk of yards. He's on pace to make a record here. And then points-wise for our offense, we're only 11th, which is really interesting. I think the difference in terms of going from total offense first to 11th in points is converting touchdowns or converting at all in the red zone, or just getting downfield and not being able to get in field goal range or converting a touchdown. Because you can't win a lot of games, which is shown so far this season, when you're first in offense and you can't maintain a great conversion rate and have 11th, overall points scored for your team. There's a big gap there. That's something that needs to be addressed. I think part of that is also the running game in the red zone, and on the defense knows you're probably going to pass the ball. But I think a big part of it too is, I was talking with some other Charger fans. We don't have a bruiser running back, really. We don't have a Lorenzo Neal or Mike Tolbert who can give the ball on 4th and goal and know he's hitting it in. I think if we had that, it would give us a lot more diversity in how we can run the ball, how we can throw the ball, and how we cannot be stopped on offense. So I think our offense should not have a problem if they get going, and the big words there if they get going. Last week they had trouble going and really getting hot until the into the third and the fourth quarter. So the first half of football and more, our offense had trouble. So Baltimore's offense is 9th overall in yards, 12th in passing, 18th in running the ball, and 14th in scoring in terms of points. So they're, decent. They're high up in the rankings for the NFL, but they're 1-6, which is crazy. They lost by a score every game. And our defense, as you know, isn't doing too hot. We're 20th in total yards allowed and 27th in points allowed. So we let up some big plays, I think is the big summary there, running and passing. So that, I think, is going to be the determining matchup, their offense versus San Diego defense. Who shows up? Do we kick it off? Do we stop the run? It does not help that our weakness is running backs, and they have a really talented running back. Really talented. Forsett, he's had some good weeks the past few weeks, so gotta be careful. Steve Smith is having a decent year, so keep an eye on him. I know he's out on the injury report for a little bit this week, but he's looking like he'll play. So he's got to watch out, I think, for Forsett and really contain and pressure Flacco. That's been our when we do that, I feel like our defense does well. We still give up a lot of points historically this season, but our defense needs to get it going, especially this game where it's a team who's kind of at the bottom right now. Really at the bottom, 1-6. They're at the very bottom. So I think our defense really, really needs to step it up. A lot is on Pagano's back, and our offensive coordinator Reich's back on getting the win this week. And I think we will get the win this week. I think we will win 27-16, and we will see Rivers get 300 yards passing, and I think we'll have a run game. Thankfully. I think they'll try to establish it this game when they know it's a team they can really experiment with and hopefully get a win with against. So yeah, tune in, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Chargers playing the Ravens in Baltimore. Big game for the Chargers. They lose. It's not looking good. I mean, since 2002, 2-16 has advanced to the playoffs. So that's just perspective on where we'd be. And not to say that we couldn't, because the AFC is pretty weak this year. There's a lot of undefeated teams and then a couple teams that are at 500 and under 500. So, but I'd rather us be 2-5 than, 3-5 than 2-6. You get the win streak going. Get back in the game. All right, so yeah, once again, I think the determining factor is going to be their offense going up against our defense without Weddle and some other key players like Teo. We're going to see who's going to step up. Can we hold the run? Can we hold Forsett? Can we stop them? Can we contain their pass game and get some pressure on Flacco? Maybe cause turnovers. And another big factor too is having good discipline on penalties. That's been our big struggle this year, I feel. Penalties, discipline on that. Keep our ish together on the road. Come back next week after getting a win, hopefully. Play the Bears Monday night, have some rest, get that win there, go on the bye week, rest up, and get ready to hit pedal to the metal for the rest of the season. That's, knock on wood if everything goes our way. Chargers are still hanging in there. This is a huge game, though. A lot is on the line for Pagano and Reich, and some say McCoy. I think McCoy is fine, but there's a lot on the line for this game for the Chargers organization. And yeah, I really hope we get the win here. Our defense has got to step up. Without Weddle, we'll see. So I'm saying 27-16 Chargers. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm talking to you on Monday with a smile on my face, knowing that we got a victory. And that's really all I got today. Go follow us on Twitter at Bolt Banter. I'll be tweeting during the game. Tweet at us. Also, I'll share a little poll that we had today with some fans. I asked the question, who do the Chargers need to be healthy more on Sunday? Antonio Gates or our O-line? And with 16 people voting in the past 3 hours, we had 75% of you said the O-line needs to be healthy. And I think they're right. And a big part of that, too, is Green stepping up. When Gates was out the first 4 games, I think Green did a great job of filling that role, filling that void that was left open. But it's weird. When Gates came back and then he got hurt, I feel like last week he did okay, but it's almost like he didn't respond how we needed him to. We need Green. Green needs to be ready to be the guy because Gates is hurt. And if we have Gates on the field, just on the field, hypothetically saying, and Green, who do they know? How do they know who we're going to pass it to? So, yeah, let's hope that Green steps it up. And like I said multiple times already, I hope our defense can stop their offense, and our offense has got to get it going. First quarter, first drive. Score on the first drive. And go from there. Stay hot the rest of the game. Get a run game going, offense. Win a game. Keep us in the race. Chargers are 2-5. Baltimore Ravens 1-6. Kickoff is at 10 tomorrow morning. 10 Pacific time for you San Diego people. Alrighty. Well, Twitter, subscribe to our channel, pretty please. Our subscribers have gotten bigger. And shout out to all the Raiders who I congratulated on their win and still blew up my comment feed. LOL. Super funny. You guys won, obviously. And we'll see you Monday. Go Chargers. Bolt up. Stay classy, San Diego. And all other Charger fans, stay warm. Have fun with families and friends. And go Chargers. Beat those Ravens. Brr.